Late last year, after a successful Kickstarter, Conan the Hyborian Age by Monolith it went into production, and yesterday I finally received my email saying that the PDFs were available from their website and I could download them. And then the website crashed, so I went to bed in a bit of a bad mood. Woke up this morning, managed to download the PDFs now, so I'm guessing it was probably to do with the amount of people that were trying to access them. So I've uploaded them, downloaded, uploaded them. I've got them all set up so we can go through the images. We're going to go through the images together. This is my first look at the books. I've gone through and aligned them, but I haven't actually flicked through yet. So I'll just show you the pledge that I went on. I believe I've got everything in the pledge that I did. I don't know whether you can late pledge now after watching this video. I don't know. I say all I've got is access to the pledge manager, and then I had a quick look on whether you can late pledge, and it throws you to GameFound, and GameFound throws you back here. So I don't know. I'd imagine though they will be on the main Monolith website very soon. So I backed the Wanderer pledge. PDFs as ever, based here in the UK. It just allows me to back a lot more projects. If I'm then going to run it, I'll then go to a company like Lulu to do a print on demand. So what I think I've got here is all three core rulebooks. So the core rulebook, 2 adventure books, which we'll be going through, and the Games Master screen and the companion. I don't know how long this video is going to last for, so my plan is I will timestamp everything down in the video below in the description. So each of the books, so if you say if we're here for quite a while, then you can just skip to each book. So this isn't a review, this is just me looking through the books, look at the art, seeing what's included, probably familiar myself to the core rule books because I can't quite remember the mechanics. I know there was a dice and there was I think it was called a flex dice or something, which you then rolled and was a d10, and if you got a 10 you just some sort of exploding crit thing. So we'll go through that together. I'll say we'll have a look at all the books and see what's included. Before I get into that, obviously this is my channel, Dungeon and Dyslexia, where I look at role-playing news, reviews, crowdfunding. I do have my own Discord, a Facebook page. I'm on X now. I've been told to look at Blue Sky, is it? I'm catching up, sorry, old man, technology is quite difficult. I do have a very basic Patreon that so I've got a couple of people on there, so thank you for that. The idea of the Patreon, I'm trying to raise funds to buy a top-down camera so I can start reviewing and looking at the physical copies of the books that I've got behind, because my webcam is just, it seems to be good enough for face but not good enough for looking at the pages, if that makes sense. It tends to blur them. Anyway, right, that's enough of me rabbiting on. You're not here to listen to me. What we're looking at is this. So we have I've got the core rulebook to look through. We've got a character sheet, an encounter sheet, then we've got the GM. This is the inside cover of the GM screen. It then comes with a screen and companion booklet. The Age of Hyborian, Tales of Hyborian Age Volume 1 and Volume 2. So as far as I can work out, this is everything that... Obviously, I think there was a few additional things in the physical copies. I say I'm not... This is not a review in any way, shape or form. I haven't had a chance to read these books. All I've done is just align them so we can just go through. So the core rule book is coming in at 226 pages. And we're looking at version 1.1 here. I'm just going to obviously do the credits here, the writing. So we've got Matthew John, Jason Durrell, Richard August, and Chris Shepperson. And then we're straight into the contents, which don't have hyperlinks. It's making me grumpy. I like hyperlinks in PDFs. So chapter 1, we've got an introduction to swords and sorcery. Then we've got welcome to the age of the undreamed of. Character creation. Then the rules themselves, sorcery, which we sort of touched on. There was a little bit of touching on the sorcery in that they did a kit that you could download and play, which was good fun. That was a really good adventure. Games Master sections, encounter, the history of the Hyborian Age, Hyborian world itself, and then an adventure, which is always good. I always like it when they throw adventures into core rule books. Just gives you an idea of the world, some NPCs, etc. Then advanced rules. I was thinking, advanced rules always confuse me. Just put them into the main core rule book and then potentially make them optional, but if they're good enough to be in the core rule book, possibly just throw them in. That's just my thoughts. So what have we got? So starting with the introduction, and fantastic artwork here of Conan after he's what's just slaughtered everyone on this Viking longship, I would say. So this looks like the history of the book, talking about when Howard wrote the book and the death of Howard in 1936, who was the author. So that's going to take your history. And then we've got the themes. And this was front and centre on the Kickstarter. Remember the big risk versus rewards. The idea of the game, I seem to remember, it's going to be very rules-like, rolling a couple of dice, and you're sort of talking to the games master, and he'll determine which stats. There was only 4, 5 stats, I think. I could probably look at the character sheet and know for for accurate, but that's not the way I do these live look throughs. So section on safety and player comfort here. So using the X cards if people are uncomfortable. I'm kind of thinking, and I'm just going to throw this out here, if you're uncomfortable with the source material of Conan, which is quite sword, sorcery, muscly men, semi-naked women, this might not be the game for you. I'm just going to put it out there. I don't think you're going to get the most out of this game if you're a la this picture, if you are a little bit squeamish when it comes to muscly men running around making comments and semi-clad naked women, etc. It's blood guts, which is it's the books, and if this is keeping true to the books, there we go. So we are 15 pages in, and we've already got boobs. So you can do whatever you want with these player safeties and comforts. If this is how the book is starting off, yes, tell players, possibly maybe look to run something else if players don't want these sort of themes in their games. I'm sure you could play it with them in there, but there's many other good games to play. And the theme of Conan is, I think it's why you're buying it. If you're going to buy Conan and then throw out the theme that Howard, right? These are things of the 1920s, so it's a different. Well, we talk about different eras, but it's that's the artwork from that's part of the adventure that came with the Kickstarter, which was quite a nice surprise for the players. So what have we got? Names to conjure with, Hyborian Age. Yes, just tread carefully is going back to my previous point. I think by all means have the warnings and the X's for people that are uncomfortable, but it might not be necessarily the world that you're going to play with a certain type of person. That's just my thoughts. Talking about the Age of Adventure, again, more semi-clad ladies with a giant snake. So chapter 3, character creation. So character creation, we've got six simple steps. I say simple, I don't know yet. Choose an origin, distribute the stats, record other values. I love that. Record other values. That's incredibly vague. So that's probably going to be like pre-generated character stats off there. Choose starting skills, select starting equipment, create a backstory. Simple as that. So we've got some origins here. So each origin will have bonuses, some basic life points, and any sorcery if they have. It'd be nice if they listed just how many origins there were. So here we go. So yeah, so here's the origin. Quote here from Howard. Background to a little bit about where they're from. And then the rules, so any sort of bonuses, skills they're going to get, starting life points. So from the hills, going to get 30 hit points, and then no magic. So we'll just keep an eye on that. So this drops down to 22 from the streets. +1 bonus edge check and attacks. They're better at attacking. This one was in the core rule book because you got the +1 to all damage and attack related for the related stats. From the steeps. Then we've got from the north, which is your sort of Viking-y kind of area, which is my favourite so far, for obvious reasons. Oh, this is cool. That's a great piece of art as well. So from the wilds, +1 to all grit checks. Spend 1 stamina, regain 2 life points. So we've still not seen any magic. Here we go, Rutger Hauer. Possibly, maybe not. Looks like him to me. If you've ever watched the 80s film, was it Flesh and Blood he was in? Where he was it was like the medieval sort of fantasy movie. Going +1 to wits, +2 to all wits, and they're going to get alchemy. Okay, from the civilized land. From parts unknown, 2 disciplines, sorceries of your choice. actually 26 hit points. So the street's only got 22, so this is magic with more hit points by the Jebel Sag. High hit points and only one sorcery, but alchemy or white magic. And then we've got any sorcery here, only 20 hit points. They're a bit flimsy, from the blood of Archeron. And blood from the blood of a demon. Best art so far. And black magic and demonic magic. I want to play that one. I'm not sure, not sure I'd want that in my campaign. I suppose it depends on what campaign you want, but I want to be that. That's what I want to be. Over the years of role-playing, I've really moved into more magic-based users where I can now. So distribute stat points. So we've got 4 stats. Might, which is obviously physical damage. Edge, which is dexterity technically. Grit, which is your pain tolerance and stamina, and then wit is speech, charisma checks. Then we've got physical defense. That was it, sorcery defense. So yeah, so rolling against. So it's like an AC, and RC, which is what I think can't think what it's called in the Wanderverse video I talked about the other day. That's currently live on Kickstarter. That separates them out. Life points measure the character's well-being. Then you've got stamina points, which is so you can spend those to do additional things. And then finally this flex die, which starts at a d10, and as you get more skills you can reduce it down, and if you roll a maximum on that dice you can then spend it to do additional things like get stamina back, do additional attacks and extra damage, etc. Starting school skills, so there were skills in the game that then do, so they're not skills as in such like 5th edition. These are skills that give a ongoing or passive ability increase. So for example, Uncanny Warden will increase the sorcery defense by 1. Ironhide will increase your life points by +3. Then we've got a few other things. Improve flex here will take your flex dice down from a d10 to a d8. Now that's worth doing because you're going to get, that's so you're 1 in 8 as opposed to 1 in 10 chance to pull off the special things. It is going to cost you 3 of your experience. Picking your starting equipment, that's quite small. Obviously, assume it's obvious, spend the money that you've got and then create your backstory. You're probably going to need the sections towards the back of the book for that. And into the rules, flex dice. Here you go. Here's what you. So when you roll a critical on the flex dice or a maximum, you can immediately gain 1 point stamina. You can do extra damage. You can make your spells more potent, or you can do massive damage if it's part of a damage roll. Skill checks. There's 4 stats, wasn't there? There was dice relating to the stats. So you're going to try to get over a difficulty. When a character must do something beyond the mundane, so the GM will then determine which stat is going to be relevant. Then the stat has been chosen. The character must roll the corresponding stat dice, add the number rolled on the value of the corresponding stat, and then you add it together plus any modifiers that you might have from skills. And then you're looking at 4 to 6 is easy, 7 to 9 moderate, 10 to 12 is tough, and 13 plus legendary. Let me just, what page are we on? 51. Let's just find an NPC monster. Here we go. So for example here, this has got wow. So here's might is high. So you roll as d8, you get to add 8 to it, and then plus something else. But then it is a jungle dragon that I've picked on, but it's not very good at edge. His dex is a bit rubbish, and wit is even worse, so he's only get a d6 plus 1. Okay, back to, was that 51 I was on, wasn't I? Yes. So different things for assisting and helping will grant additional bonuses. It's a static bonus after the dice roll. And then contested rolls, how combat works. Combat was very quick. I remember playing this because you've got 4. I don't know. I look at my fingers when I'm counting, but you've got 4 stats. Realistically, you're only using 2 or 3, depending whether you're doing melee, range, or sort of spell combat. And then all the actions you can do as you'd expect. You can get 2 actions per round, so it's very familiar. Move, attack, do a focused attack, which will allow you to attack with a +2 modifier. You can do defense, which will give you +2 to your defense. Cast a spell, which is 1 or 2. You can manipulate, so pick up items, unlock doors, stealth items, things like that. There's a variety of free actions, as you'd expect. And then this 1 or 2 for anything else. It's just a catch-all in, you know, if this doesn't include it, we've got anything else, which is 1 and 2, which is kind of obvious, but I guess you need to put these in the rules sometimes. This is the art from the original Conan board game, I think, which has got to be about 5-6 years old now. Ranges, what's that, 5 different ranges? So we've got touch, close, medium, long, and distance, which is it's very abstracted out, which means a lot of this is theatre of the mind. When we played it, and we've been doing a lot of 5e and Pathfinder and things over the years, so we do a lot of grid-based combat. This doesn't need grid-based combat at all. Obviously, if you've got the minis, or you bought the minis within the Kickstarter, or you do, you know, run things on Roll20 or stuff, it's easy enough to do. Line of sight, obviously, if you can see them, in order to make a throw or range attack, the character must have line of sight. While firing blind may seem cinematic, the outcome is rarely a success. Okay, so area effect spells will determine on which area you're in. Obviously, sounds obvious. Attack damage is going to work. So I seem to remember the armor affected how hard you are to hit, not the damage coming off. Is that right here? Oh, there was the rule of 3. What was the rule of 3? That was to do with, there was bonuses of +1 to 2 or 3, or -1, 2 or 3, determined by certain situations. So like advantage, disadvantage, but it's becomes a plus or minus to the dice roll, depending on, you know, favourable or non-favourable conditions. So for example, you know, if they're prone and things like that, that will affect how hard or easy it is to hit. Armor ratings determine how hard it is to hit, and then obviously you've got your encumbrance. Oh, okay, and then you've got some plus or minuses to spell attacks, depending on which type of armor you're wearing. Artwork throughout is just, I wish more books would do this and actually give an example of the types of weapons, because if you're new to a fantasy or even a, you know, sword and sorcery type game, you might not know exactly what type of weapon. Yeah, you're gonna have to sort of try and work out what sometimes these things are by process of elimination, but it should give you a good gauge of where you are and an idea. The thrown damage, range weapon, so it gives you your damage dice, the range to attack, and then the type of attack it is. Then any sort of special rules here. So Mace and Warhammer, their armor ratings are considered to be too low against attacks on this weapon. I want to take a Mace or Warhammer. Let's find the Warhammer, and let's find, is that the Mace? No, yeah, that's the Mace, isn't it? The one with the big spiky thing. I'm sure people are screaming out to me going, you've got these descriptions now, you should know these. Okay, bows, crossbows, shuriken, and throwing axes. How to die or not die, the air and recovery, how to spend stamina points and what they do, and then poison, encumbrance, sorcery skills. We kind of tested this a little bit. So it wasn't, I think there was one character class. So we've got gonna have different types of sorcery judging by the characters. So we've got alchemy to start with, then black magic, gross, good art but gross, absolute gross. Still carrying on with the quotes here from Robert E. Howard. Demonic magic, which is what I want to be doing. I want to do that alongside the necromantic damage. I want to summon ghosts and death scream and raise dead. I want to have an army of undead. It's going to cost me 6 experience to travel around with my character and just rule the world with my army of undead. That's what I want to do. And you can keep your white magic. That sounds too nice and healing. Very much Magic the Gathering, if we think. So, and it's obviously not white, but the green type. No, it is white, isn't it? It does a lot of the healing as well. So, yeah. You do get call beasts, so you can have a serpent or crocodile or bear. Or you can range the undead from the page before, Summon Ghost, Stamina Lich. Okay, Games Master section. So we're only 80 pages in. There's so much crammed into this already. character progression, experience, what you can spend it on. Okay, so all the skills and stuff at the start are starting skills. Let me just go back to that then. So these, where are they? It'd help if I get into the character creation bit, wouldn't it? Get past all the origins. So these are starting skills, and I assumed that was it. But no, there are... I've skipped on. There are loads of more legendary skills that you can then get to spend and customize your characters, all the way up to the cost of 6. Legendary sword arm. The character may perform 1 bonus melee attack per action per turn. Oh. Or you can raise the undead. Did I mention raising undead? Okay, how to run encounters here. And then, what's this? There's bestiary, isn't it, really? So we've got guards, 3 different types. Oh yeah, the game, it had minions and sort of antagonists. So minions are, you kind of throw them at the players. They've got very few hit points. They're very quick to die, sort of low thresholds. That was it, wasn't it? Yeah, so antagonists have hit points. Life, so that's the amount of damage it needs to take. Threshold is if you exceed the threshold, they just die. Which is really cool, actually, because it just then allows you to, throw a fair few on and get to the sort of bandit leader here considerably quicker. Bandits picks, cultists, obviously. Summoned fiend. I want to be a cultist. Not me. I want to play it or run these pirates, barbarians, steep riders. Obviously, you could play those. It's one of the characters, couldn't you? The sorcerers here. Living statues, so golems, technically, skeletons, mummies, ghosts. I just honestly love the artwork in this. It's going to score very highly when I do my Scourge of Set, ghouls, black one, 3 different types, an ancient black one, 60 hit points. That's going to take some sort of dealing with. Deep dwellers. Saying that with Jungle Dragon, which was the example, there was 2 here, both of which are antagonists. One's got 60 life points, the other one's got 100. Don't throw these at starting players. Stick to the minions, and then we're into demons. And then server of, what's that, Araman? It's only 40 hit points. Can take that all day. And then we've got some standard, I'd say standard animals, wild dogs, wolves, lion, and then I flicked over to giant scorpion. That's not a standard. I hate scorpions. I really hate scorpions. They absolutely terrify me. I can't even go into insect places when they have them. I don't like it. And my mates always rib me about scorpions, which is what made us laugh when we ran this encounter. Luckily, I was playing it and not actually involved in the scorpions attacking us, because I don't like it. History of the Hyborian Age. So this is the history of the world. To sort of help, well, obviously this is going to help with character creation, bringing you up to the modern day and where you're running. We've got some, what's this, Mitra, so some city locations, etc. And then some actual Armor of the Lion. Is that a person? I'm assuming. Again, sorry if you're fully into the history of this and I'm butchering names and ideas. And I do remember there was going to be a Conan the Barbarian movie where he was the king, which they still keep talking about in Hollywood now. And because Arnie is now the right age to be playing the sort of end life Conan, which would be quite good. And then we've got a chapter. Oh, nice. Got a chapter here on the world itself. So we've looked at the history, we then get the world, the map of, here we go, Hyboria. Hyperborea, I should say. That's really cool. I remember Amazon were doing, I don't know what happened to my voice then, Amazon were doing a Conan TV series, weren't they, when Jennifer Salke, I think her name, took over, and then she quickly canned it for reasons I probably shouldn't talk about on this channel. I might do on my other channel. Now she's finally gone. Let's talk about Jennifer Salke. So we've got all the geography here, and then some text about the world. Is this descriptions? Yeah, okay, so we've got some descriptions here to read, and then a little bit more detail about all of the areas. And then actually some gods of the areas. A bit of Kush. Lands of the Middle, lands of the Far East. And then, wow. That is super sweet, isn't it? Then Tales. What is this? I know there's an adventure, it did say. Right, this is the adventure that comes in the starting book. Oh, okay, so yeah, so 195. So this is starting adventure. We're going to skip through it. We don't want to look at that. And then we've got some advanced rules. So fighting styles and some advanced skills like ambidexterity, brutal strength, lone soldier, martial training. Again, it'd be interesting to find out why these aren't included in there. They deem them too powerful or whatever it might be. I guess that's just going to come down to a little bit of play testing. Then we've got the character sheet here. 2 character sheets that look the same to me. And then a little bit of a teaser about the next thing. So that's the main rule book done. Okay, so character sheet. We've just seen that. So this is just a nice, easy print-off character sheet with your flex dice, stamina points, your 4 stats, defense for physical and sorcery, and then life points, etc. down. Then we've got the encounters. So this is for NPCs. We've got a minion sheet here, and then the antagonist sheet. So you're just going to print a load of these off. Inside the GM screen, weapons table, always handy. Thrown weapons, ranged weapons, that's good. And your armor, how recovery works for healing, poisons there, and then how you can spend stamina. And then we've got how to make basic checks, how the flex dice works, and what you can do with that. It's everything you'd want in here, actually. This is pretty handy. Okay, it's only a 4-page GM screen, but it's got all your actions, how initiative works, action dice, attacks, how attacks dice, rolling dice, damage, flex dice. That's a good GM screen. Well done, Monolith. Some of these can be absolutely pointless. And then we've got the GM screen companion here, which is the Tools for All Games Master highly detailed art screen with multiple reference tables. Well, we've seen those. A detailed guide for crafting your own tales, encounters, and rules for ensorceraled artifacts and mystic paraphernalia. Go on, throw in some long words, Mythic Games. Why don't you? That's the front cover. So I'm assuming when you buy it in your physical copy, that will be the back page that will be sort of stuck together. Then you'll have some sort of front artwork, which no, I don't get to see that. So that's just going to be a page that we'll just probably throw away. Okay, so what have we got? This is a book. So it's for creating just adventures off. Okay. Right, so this is a random generating campaign, adventure, one-shots type thing. So we've got places and locations and then some notes about them. So you can randomly roll a d20 to determine that. The terrain that the adventure is going to take place in. Again, d20, weather, opening scene generator, so where you are. Instant scene location, so whether it's a brothel, an empty brothel, fortified brothel. Move away from brothel. Rebel camp, a lonely rebel camp. Eerie locations and uncanny atmosphere, so a fortress here, so an overgrown fortress. Okay, that's quite cool the way that's working. Then we've got the inferior abode or place, so be it hospital, justice court, philosophers, agora. Conflict and strife locations, border fort, sentries, wizards towers, iconic locations. So these, I'm assuming, will relate to the sort of geography of the world. Plot and plot devices, anything from a distressed princess, an experienced thief, to a former comrade, to passed along a manuscript. So that's just going to get the plot draw going, so needs an escort somewhere. Type of quests as well, so free an ancient power or captive person to fulfill your oath. This is cool. Actually, you can use this for pretty much, other than the geography, like the specific geography locations. This is going to be really handy for any fantasy game. Just to, when sometimes when you're short of players and you go, oh, let's just play something else, let's do a one shot, let's throw it in. You could pretty much roll up a one-shot in about 3 or 4 minutes. So some obstacles, some plots, twists, goals and aims for the missions, some secrets within there, some friendly characters, whether the hero or heroine, some NPCs to interact with. And when you meet NPCs, their disposition, so whether they're welcoming, friendly, neutral, unfriendly, or hostile, antagonists and adversaries, got there in the end, villains, the types of villains that they are. Oh, so the villains that you're going to roll, if you're going to create a big villain or even a one-shot villain, they're going to have their own motivations, what they're trying to do and achieve, where like obtaining a blood sacrifice, find a missing caravan, things like that. Any sort of beasts or animals they've got, gods, deities, foes and adversaries. What is wrong with that word? Undead entities, monstrosities, or terrors. Random loot table for items, and then the magic effects on there. Here's the sorceress or mystical paraphernalia, and legendary artifacts that they can find as well as tombs and manuscripts. And how to create an adventure. If you're unsure, it's always good to just have these in Games Masters. You know, if you're not an experienced Games Master and you don't know where to start, you'd expect it to be in there. So that's that. That's actually a really handy little Games Master screen and booklet that comes with it. We've then got the final 2 books here. So we've got the Hyborian Age Volume 1 and Volume 2. I did Volume 2, then Volume 1. But you get the thing. I think from what I remember, these are adventures. So I'm just going to go to the back of the book. And so this is a collection of easy-to-run adventures in the Hyborian Age. So Volume 1 is composed of 7 tales, including 5-part episodic mini-campaign, Storm Under the Tarantia. Supply a whole host of opportunities to see players betrayed in the desert, undertake a quest from wealthy nobles, and visit lost cities. So it's Game Master friendly tales, adventures, covering the setting style. So I'm going to go through it, but what I'll do is I'll flick through, because I don't want to kind of spoil it, if that makes sense. So again, same writers actually, apart from John Julian, I think, and Dave Semark. Actually, Richard August, it's not the same writers, is it? It's completely different writers, other than Jason Doral and Chris Shepperson. So we've got Mary Turkuda as well. So here's your 5-part adventure, and it said 7, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we got hyperlinks. That's cool. So they got them here. Well done, guys, for putting hyperlinks on this book. So you got the 5-part adventure and totally 7. So you've got 7 adventures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the 7th one is a big 5-part adventure. Yeah, because the other ones are sort of 10, 11 pages long each, and then the first one is 40 odd pages. So this is a multi-parted one. So we've got an introduction through some guards. So the different parts. Okay, so comes in maps as well, which is good. So you should. What they haven't done is they haven't given us separate maps out. But obviously you can quite easily just cut and paste these out if you've got the PDF copies, and then just dump them, either print them off, or whether you can dump them into Roll20 or Alchemy or the Forge or Foundry, whoever it is that you're actually using, or other ones are available. I'm not, I'm just talking about the ones that I can think of off the top of my head. But each adventure is going to be run, so it's got your introduction, the read out loud sections, an overview, read out loud, example of the adventure, maps, NPCs, how the encounter is going to work, some art as well, and then I think it had conclusion and rewards in there. So that is going to be 7 adventures. There's dispersed little bits. They're back with the scorpions, aren't they? Yeah. Ooh, that's a big ape. It's a cave ape. It's only a minion. It looks more intimidating. It's only a minion. It's only got a threshold of 6. Should be able to wipe that out quite easily. The crocodile's more intimidating than the cave ape. And then we've got an adventure here in the jungle. And this is probably some sort of delivery adventure, because you're sort of travelling across. That is Ace. I like that. Great stone avatar. Or is that the School Lord? That's probably the School Lord with his a lot of life. Sorry if I kept you on that too long. I got a bit carried away looking at that one. So that's part 1. And then the volume 2. I've gone from part to volume. Terrible, terrible person. So volume 2. So this is going to give 11 tales within the book. And this is written by veteran writers and Conan fans. Okay. The other one might have been, because it looks like the same. Let me just go back. Is it the same writers? And I probably just read a little bit more on it. Matt, John. Okay, so it's slightly different. Yeah, so it's slightly different writers on the second book. But we've got 11 adventures here that all seem to be sort of smaller. There's no big one. And we've got the hyperlinks again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know what these birds are for. Maybe it's the difficulty. It should say somewhere, shouldn't it, what those birds are for? Why doesn't it say? That's really annoying. Has the other one got the birds on? Oh, now, yeah. So it's going to be difficulty or startingness. Startingness. It's got the 3 birds there. Okay. Does that have 2 birds? It does. Okay, but we don't know why. It's going to be something to do with the main rule book. It's going to be... Why doesn't it say? Right, let's just look at the back of the book. This is the problem with my brain. I am now obsessed with what the birds do. And it doesn't say anywhere. I'm gonna have to follow up with this because you're not gonna want me just looking at. So again, going back to these quests. So they've got some birds between 1 and 3. I'm gonna guess it's difficulty, but I don't know. But again, they are gonna have the bits to read, the sort of the plot, maps, etc., and NPCs, and then conclusion and XP rewards. Because I would say this isn't level based, because I think we've clearly seen this is experience based. The players are going to be able to buy the sort of skills that they want to level up how they want, gain new spells, gain new powers, have the extra attack, or bring people back from the dead. I think you should go down the necromantic route. I want to run this on my Discord. Like everything else, I want to run my Discord. That's the other thing I do need now, though. I need someone to show me how to run games over Discord. Whether I need to up my Discord, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. Wow, that is some giant worm type creature. Run. I wonder how many birds that's got at the start. 2. The white worm. Maybe. I don't know. When I find out, I will follow it up in one of my weekly videos when I find out exactly what these birds are for. I will let you know, because it's annoying me and I need to know. Chances are, if you're watching this and I'm still rabbiting on about it, you might need to know as well. But it doesn't say. Does it say in the core rulebook? Birds. Doesn't say birds there. There might be crows. I don't know. I generally don't know. But when I find out, I'll let you know. Okay, because I've gone on for... That's a little bit longer than I thought it would be. But hopefully you've got then a good gauge of what's included in the books, what's included. So if you go all in for your pledge level, say you got core rulebook, the Games Master screen, which is really good. I would probably be looking to pick that up anyway, because I think you could just run that with any fantasy game. You could probably easily adapt it to a lot of other games as well. I do like these sort of books with a lot of random tables in that's just allows you to just create some. Not that I tend to create anything off the fly, but I might create it for inspiration going into a session, if that makes sense. I'm not one of those with just let's create a one-shot adventure here when all the players are there, but I think you probably could. You could do that. And then if you want some adventures, there's 11 in the one book and 7 in the other one. There's a big part there, so that's 18 if my maths is good. Hopefully, because that's what I do for a living. But that's it. That's my look at the Conan Hyborian world, Hyborian Age, sorry, isn't it? By Mythic Games, Monolith Games. It is. Actually, let's. No. I'll let you discover whether it's available on their website, because it should be up soon. You might be able to get pledges, but obviously, if it's on its website, if I find a link, I will put a link for the video in this description. If not, keep an eye out on the website for when it comes out. I will do a full review when I've had a chance to actually play it properly and run some of the adventures. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. My name's Adrian, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you for watching.